Welcome to Ray-ality TV. I'm Raymond Bakari. Today I'm joined by Santos Javier, who is running for Providence City Council in Ward 15. The ward itself contains the neighborhoods of Oneyville, parts of Silver Lake, Manton, and Valley. Santos, how are you today?
How you doing, Raymond? Thank you for having me today.
I'm doing great, and it's great to have you back on the show. We had you on last year when you ran in the special election when Lieutenant Governor, then Councilwoman Matos, ascended to the role of Lieutenant Governor when Governor McKee was selecting his Lieutenant Governor. This election is going to be a little bit different. You are running against Councilman Vargas, who's seeking election to a full first term, and it's only you two on the ballot. It's not the 4 to 5 candidates as it was in last year's special election. And this episode is going to be a little bit different than the traditional stand-up Q&A or a Zoom call, as some of you have may seen in prior episodes. We're going to be doing a walk and talk throughout parts of Ward 15 to show some of the issues that we're talking about, like cracked roads, or to even just showcase new things happening in the area. For instance, right next to us, there's construction going on. There's going to be a new McDonald's built, I believe. That part of the interview should be starting in 3, 2, 1. Santos, my first question, why do you want to be the city council person for Ward 15?
I believe I'm the right person for the job. I live here for 25 years. I live in this community. I know my community. I know the folks. I know the people. I have contributed to this community all my life, ever since I was here. When I work at the Bank of America, in the banking industry, we gave loans to folks in the community. When I did small business lending to the bank, we gave people to start their own business and the chance to be entrepreneur and become business owners. When I work for childhood-led action, we gave folks in this community of Oneyville and Silver Lake the opportunity to have their house weatherization, which means that we will insulate their property at no cost. We replace the windows, we replace the insulation and low cost, and make sure that the house stay warm throughout the winter. And we did that all out the neighborhood of Silver Lake, Oneyville, and Valley. And that's, this to me is giving back, to help out, and that's what I've been doing my whole life. It's giving back to the community. I want to be a city council because it's a bigger platform for me to be able to do more than what I can do, because we're limited of what we can do. We can do things here and there, for folks and in the neighborhood. But being as a councilman, give me a bigger platform to do a lot more, and that's why I want to be a city council.
This is your second time running for the office. I had mentioned at the top of the introduction that you ran in last year's special election in a competitive 4-way Democratic primary. You ended up placing 4th. What were some takeaways from that campaign that you're applying to this one?
I took a lot of takeaways. First of all, it was my first campaigning. I had to learn everything on my own. I had no backing, I had no help. Grassroots, let's say, campaign, like really grassroots. I was the underdog. Politically, really nobody knew who I was. Although in the community, to the work I done when I was at the bank and elsewhere, people know who I am. But I had to learn. I have to, get my feet wet. And if I really want to do for the community, I have to put everything I got to, get in there and see, how far I can reach and how far I can go. Although I did it to the end. I did it to try to make it there. But yeah, I learned a lot of lessons, and I think that that helped me out to grow, and become the person that I am today.
I also noticed you have the Santos TV merchandise. You launched a podcast and all that.
Yep.
These local races, it went from being door knocking and just knocking on doors and mailers to now having a strong mail ballot operation is another component of one of these campaigns. How's your mail ballot operation looking?
I think it's looking great. I have Michael Calderon, which is my campaign manager, and he's been a blessing in my campaign. We've been talking to folks, and just, banking it out right away. Then, our, mail ballot is, if people see the numbers, just see me that I'm top. We are at the top right there, when we comes to mail ballots. We're doing a great job, when it comes to that. And yeah, that's the future right now. It's getting to folks, and, a lot of people, especially this election on Tuesday, on the September 13th, is going to be a rainy day. A lot of folks don't want to get out. They come late from work, they're tired, so the mail ballot is a big help. And, that's how things are working right now. But we're doing great when it comes to that.
Now, Santos, one of the lingering issues I remember talking about when we had you on last year was the cracked sidewalks and road.
Right.
So I'm going to put an overlay of footage right in front of us.
Yep.
Cracked.
Right.
Right there.
Yep.
Cracked.
Yep.
It's caved in.
The whole street needs to be done.
So how would you go about fixing it if elected?
Listen, One of my priorities, is to fix the Silver Lake Award, 15 Valley Mountain, and this is when I come in when I said broken promises. What we have as a current councilman made all these promises that he was going to do all this within 6 months, and as you can see, it's been more than a year. And everything's still the same. Actually, it's getting worse, and that's one of priorities is to, this is a hazard, for the elderly, for the children, and for anybody. This needs to, it's back of my mind that in today's day and age in America, we have streets that look like third world countries, and this is one of the things that I want to tackle as soon as I get in, is to make sure that the money gets put in, where it belongs, not to put in signs for personal gain, but to put in for the community where it needs to be done.
And I did raise my voice a little bit when I did the caved in part of pointing at the road, and that's because I live on this street. I'm not going to show my house, but I live on this street, so the fact that it's caved in is terrible.
And the fact that I'm sorry to interrupt, but the councilman that we have now has been told many time and time again about this issue, and he doesn't do nothing about it. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even answer these phone calls, because he knows that people are just going to tell him the same thing. But that's what he's there for. If you're a city council, your job is to answer the phone and deal with the issue at hand.
And it even goes further than just the sidewalks being cracked and the roads being cracked. They're also not clean. Sometimes when you go through parts of this ward, you'll see a mattress, dog poop. The dog's owner's not picking it up.
Yep.
Just things that it just ruins the quality of life too. What would be your approach when taking on that part of the issue?
One of the things that I will do is, get in the community and talk to the folks and have, let's say, community captains sit on every street and be like, listen, get them together on this street as the captain. What is the issue that they're telling you? Let's go to them. If you have a dog, make sure that you pick her after. Put signs and and eventually even maybe fines. So because people don't get it until they have to pay it out of the pocket. You know what I mean? So have signs. Have some sort of fine that or warnings. That they get if if they don't clean after the big dogs. For the mattresses, also have more of them contributed into letting people know, listen, they drop a mattress, and have them call immediately to the DPW or your councilman, myself, listen, there's a mattress there, and then if the most mattresses have been thrown into one part of that ward than the other, then we know that there's an issue on that part, and maybe focus and put more police officials or how can I say it, security, to make sure that it's, that part of stop from throwing mattresses in there.
And speaking of the mattresses, and I do want to give credit where credit is due, the current councilman, he has done quite a number of mattress drives and community meetings where he talks to the people about this. Do you plan to do something similar?
Of course, we have to. I would say that every 3 months we should have a drive, of picking up mattresses, and bring back, because one of the main problems that this started happening is when waste management stopped picking up the mattresses, from people's houses. Because before, you used to put it in the front and they used to take it. They stopped doing that to save money. But the thing is that we're spending actually more money, on all that, dumping than anything else. So I want to bring back for waste management, with the council and work a deal with them, so they can take it back again, along with the trash, that like they used to do. And I think that would help minimize, a lot, the dumping of the mattresses.
To wrap up this topic in a nice little bow, there's going to have to be some form of money in the budget to pay for fixing the cracked sidewalks, pavement, retarring, everything. Are you going to try to get more allocated to this part of the budget? Of
course, and not just allocated just to the city, but also there's also organizations that help, and make contribution, to fix, the roads of their community. Even businesses, can contribute. There's a lot of ways of getting funding, to make this happen. They done it in other places. I've seen it in Central, the mayor done it. So I believe that we can get the money, to fix it, not just from the city, but from elsewhere, if the city money is not enough. But we definitely can get it done.
Speaking of those mattresses, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
As you know, rat issues everywhere in the ward.
Right.
the mattresses could just be a symptom of that problem, but it's other things too. People are leaving the trash bins open, so there's a hole at the bottom of the trash bins.
Right.
They're also just, the second it gets dark, luckily we're filming this during the day, they're running past your feet,
Yep.
on your porch, and your garbage bins, everywhere.
Right.
How would you address this issue if you're elected?
Listen, I believe that in other cities, in other states, they had issues similar to us and they have resolved the issue. So what we need to do is have the city put traps and poison on a monthly basis and change it on a monthly basis, or give the residents some sort of intense funding so they can buy the poison themselves and take care of the problem. I believe that the residents also are responsible to have the area clean, so that also could avoid the rat problem. I've seen a lot of trash bins that have been broken due to the arm of the truck, so that picks them up, and also to the rats themselves have been breaking them in. I believe that there should be a way for those to be replaced fast, because I've been helping some folks to get it replaced, and it takes months, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, even longer than that, to get those bins replaced. And if we have them there, to stop the rat from getting in, but it takes a month or more. I mean, it takes a month for a rat, to have, 30 other mice, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and multiply. So if we need to tackle that, we need those things to be replaced, if they're broken, at least weekly. So I believe that we should also have those resources available, to the community. I mean, if we want the community to thrive, the city has to do their part too. So those are one of the many ways that I'm, going to tackle that issue.
I have just one quick question focused on education, kind of going away from specifics on issues that would affect my street and your
Right.
street. This one affects the city as a whole, but even Ward 15 too. We have a couple schools in the area. So there will be a question on the November ballot focused on the idea of having a hybrid school committee. For those watching, that's half elected, half mayor appointed. There's 10. Currently, all 10 of them are appointed by the mayor. This surprisingly has candidates divided on the issue, despite cities like Cranston having a full elected school board. How do you feel about this proposal? Do you support it?
I sort of am in between. I support it, but I don't support it. I believe that they should all be elected, by the people, not, just by the mayor. But if it's half and half, maybe, I agree with it. The mayor puts half, and the other half, elected. So I'm in between when it comes to that. I'm not like full for it or half for it.
Do you have an idea of how you would vote on that question in November? Or are you still doing research?
I'm still doing my research on that.
I just have a couple of shorter form questions I'm asking every council candidate on the show. You've probably watched some of the episodes, so you'll know them. And then I'll have a non-political topic right after. So what committee would you like to be on if elected?
Oh, of course, I would like to be on DPW because, it's going with that trash and keeping our street clean and safe, and especially with the rat problem. So definitely I'll be on the, Department of Public Works committee because, like I said, folks, they are really concerned, with their trash bins being broken and not being replaced on time. And then the time that it takes to be replaced, which is about 4 weeks or longer than that. Also on the finance committee, because of my background in banking, I also would love to be on that committee as well.
Who do you plan to support for mayor on Tuesday? We're currently filming this on Saturday the 10th.
I plan to support Gonzalo Cuervo.
That's one of the very few times I kind of answer you. So I appreciate you answering it. Is there anybody in mind that you would support for council president if elected?
That, again, we'll have to do my research. I'm still, not sure, but I have to do more research on that.
Okay, fair. And you'll have plenty of time because there's no independent or Republican running, so the winner Tuesday between you and the councilman will have time to decide that before January. That's one of the first votes I believe you have as a council person. I had just two quick non-political topics to end this interview away from politics. Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies? Yes, I have a ton. But one of my hobbies right now is tech. I love tech, I love, dealing with tech. And also, like what you do, I have Santos TV, which is also, to get the community involved and talk and do stuff like that. So right now that's, one of my biggest thing, going on. But yeah, I love tech.
You gonna get the new iPhone?
it's too expensive. Usually, when it comes to tech, I like the high end of anything, and the high end is like 1,600.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that that's too much, and they do the same as that previous phone, and even that other phones, they have the same kind of tech. I mean, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
That will get my attention for me to go and purchase it, other than it's just call the iPhone, 14, but it still look just like the 13 and the 12 and everything else. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend money and waste money on that. I'll still stay with the tech that I have now, until something else, revolutionary comes along.
My final question: we have a excellent culinary scene in the city. Federal Hill, just one spot alone. I don't know specifically about what we have in the ward in terms of good restaurants. Do you have a specific go-to restaurant that you go to often, whether it's in the ward or even in the city as a whole?
Of course, I go to Martin Avenue. It's called Mi Porción, which is a Dominican restaurant, and they do chicken like rotisserie chicken, and they do mofongo and a whole bunch of stuff, which is delicious, Dominican food, and that's one of my places to go to. But I also go around Mexican food, Asian food. I love food. I travel a lot, and one of the things that I travel is because of the food. So that one thing about Rhode Island that I love is all that, different cultures that we have, that it revolves around food, So yeah, I like everything, but that's not what I'm going to.
I have to check out those places.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not owning up to my status as a 10-year resident. We're not going there, but I'll definitely check them out now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the recommendation. Santos, I want to thank you so much for coming back on the
Yeah.
show. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching this episode of Ray-ality TV. If you want to see future episodes as soon as they're posted on this channel, please click the subscribe button down below and the post notification bell icon to the right of it. If you are, whether in the city of Providence or the state of Rhode Island as a whole, Election Day is on Tuesday. If you're registered to vote and eligible to vote, please vote. I won't tell you who to vote for because I want to stay neutral on the show, but vote, use your right to vote. It's very important. Decides a whole number of races from city council to school committee to mayor to governor, even congressional.
September 13th, please get out and vote. We need your vote. It's extremely important that you get out and vote and, make your decision, because one neighborhood, not just the neighborhood, but the entire city and our community depends on just, that politician that you vote for.
And every vote counts. Tuesday is Election Day. I'm Raymond Bakari, and I'll see you on the next episode.